Okay guys, we're back out here with the Kestrel 762 AK. We just wanted to do some multi-caliber testing just to see what the Kestrel 762 AK sounds when we put some 5.56, 5.45, some 300 Blackout. We'll possibly throw some 22 through it also. We just wanted to see what it sounded like with multiple calibers. Some of the other 762 cans that we have are 308 rated, and they're a good portion longer than the Kestrel 762 AK. So, you know, there again, we're not comparing apples to apples because some of these longer cans do have extra baffles, more volume, and more suppression ability. This Kestrel AK 762 is really more in line with your 5.56 suppressors. It's shorter, you know, it has less suppression volume, so you know it wouldn't be a fair comparison doing straight up outright testing through one of these longer cans, but we're gonna go ahead and do some comparison just to see where it's at and just to see what we got. So here we go. Alright, I'm shooting this is the Kestrel 762 AK. It has the white tape, and this is 7.62 by 39.
This is the Kestrel 5.56, shooting a 5.4 by 39.
Okay, I got a 7.62 by 39 AR-15, and I'm shooting it through the Kestrel 762 AK.
This is a 5.45 AR, the Kestrel 762.
Okay, I'm firing 7.62 by 39 through a Kestrel 7.62 AK.
This is a 5.56 through a Kestrel 7.62 AK.
Did that almost sound louder?
Yeah.
Yours?
Yeah, it did.
Okay, I'm firing 7.62 by 39 through a Kestrel 7.62 AK.
300 Blackout through a Kestrel 7.62 AK.
We just wanted to do a test just to see if there's a difference in shooting subsonic. I'm shooting a 16-inch H&R AAC 300 Blackout handy rifle with a 7.62 by 39, and these are 225 300 subsonic.
Shooting the Remington 700 16-inch barrel with the Kestrel 7.62 AK.
And he's also shooting the 225 subsonic. It's right to bear arms 300 Blackout subsonic. Bigger difference than what I expected. Okay, now I'm putting a 7.62 Kestrel AK on a 16-inch CMMG 22. This is Remington Subsonic. I just wanted to see how it sounded. Sound pretty damn good on the Subsonic 22. Okay guys, I just wanted to give some final thoughts on this Huntertown Arms Kestrel 7.62 AK. When we first got it, we noticed that it was a little sharper, had a little more of a bassier tone when shooting it side by side with some of its competitor suppressors. And you know, that was to be expected. You know, when we got into these Huntertown arms, you know, we didn't expect them to be quite as quiet as, you know, suppressors that are double, nearly triple the cost. But you know, we still wanted to push them and see, you know, basically where they were at in comparison to these other suppressors. You know, and one of the things that we noticed is the Kestrel 5.56. This is a frickin' deal. This is a nice little suppressor, well built, still pretty small in comparison, and you know, inexpensive. From what I can tell, Huntertown Arms stand behind all their products, all the baffles, this front tube, your back thread portion, you know, all that's replaceable. The blast chamber is replaceable. The serialized portion really doesn't come in contact with any of the blast. So as far as longevity on this thing, and you know, being able to replace or repair, this is an excellent buy. Great sound and suppressor. But its bigger brother, the Kestrel 7.62 AK, while basically being at that same length and you know, internal volume, it kind of loses some of the performance, basically because of the bore circumference to the ratio of the bullet diameter to the volume of the inside of the suppressor. Obviously, along with the baffle design, number of baffles, and that type of thing does play, a part in suppression, of course. But one of the things that we, really have come to learn, that there's a give and take with all suppressors, whether it's weight, length, construction material, the sound quality, flash suppression, just a number of different variables. This guy, for what Huntertown is offering you, they basically had to give up some of the performance, to get it in this same package. It's a relatively small suppressor as far as 30 caliber suppressors go, the AK suppressors. Most 30 caliber suppressors, I mean, this is also rated 308, but almost all 30 caliber suppressors are significantly longer. As far as 30 caliber suppressors, this SDN6, this is about as short as it gets. This is a very short suppressor. Some of the other suppressors are considerably longer, so that's one of the things where it gives up performance. It doesn't have the internal volume to cope with those gases. One of the other things is the bore circumference. Having this be a rated AK suppressor, Huntertown Arms gave you a little more leeway with the bore circumference. This is the AAC SDN6, and if you take a 300 Blackout and push it down in there, it basically stops about halfway down that the brass casing. It stops. You take that same 300 Blackout, put it into the Huntertown AK, just drops right through. So there's a much larger bore circumference that comes into effect because you have moving parts. You have the ability to move your baffle stack, to change your tire outer tube. You have moving parts back here where your thread portion can come out. So all that coming into effect, it kind of takes it's not concentric to the rifle bore, and the threading on the rifle, or the rifle barrel. Also too, AKs are notorious for being non-concentric. So Huntertown Arms gave you some leeway there, so you're not as likely to have baffle strikes. And also too, for a safety standpoint, baffle strikes don't always just tap the end of your suppressor and keep on going. Sometimes they come out in a very nasty way. So in order to give you some safety, you lost a little bit of the performance there. Given the volume, is considerably smaller than most 30 caliber suppressors, and the bore circumference, those two factors, could play a part in this thing not sounding quite as good as its 5.56 counterpart, and not really on par with some of the other suppressors out there. But as far as shooting this thing on a 16-inch gun, it feels here and safe. We were out there blasting this thing with a slide fire without ears on all day. Just just tearing it up. This one and the Kestrel 5.56. Obviously, the 5.56 sounds a lot better than the the Kestrel AK, but still, on a 16-inch gun, it sounds decent. Do its competitors sound better? Yes, but with that comes the addition to more money. You know, this is a $500 can. You really can't beat that, as far as I know. And like I said, with the ability to replace or repair and get a long service life out of the suppressor, you know, I think that's a trade-off worth making. I've said in some of my other videos, these two suppressors, my cheaper suppressors, you know, that's just kind of the nature of the way I kind of do things. The stuff that I spend a lot of money on, I'm probably going to take care of it a little better. I'm not going to put 22 ammo through this where I can with these. You know, with either of these suppressors, I'm not going to put military surplus 5.45 and military surplus 7.62 by 39 through these suppressors. I have in the past, but that's not something that I'm willing to do on a regular basis. With these two, I am. I'll pretty much take these out every time and just use and abuse the shit out of them. So, you know, there again, there's some of that trade-off. There's some give and take. The Kestrel 5.56, 2 thumbs up. Recommend it all day long, every day. The Kestrel 7.62 AK, kind of get a thumbs up and a thumbs down. As far as versatility, the build, the construction, you know, your ability to replace, repair, you get a big thumbs up. Great stuff. But as far as the performance, you kind of get a little bit of a thumbs down. I would have liked to have seen this be more, a little more performance as far as multi-caliber testing going. But there again, this sounds good shooting 22 through it. You know, it basically sounded the same when we shot 5.45, you know, through it as it does when it's the 7.62 by 39. It did seem a little sharper with the 5.56, but there again, you know, it's not a huge deal. It did sound better for sure shooting 168 grain 300 Subsonic, but our 300 Supersonic. But when we shot the 225 Subsonic, didn't fare anywhere near as well as the SDN6. So, you know, big thumbs up on the construction, on the ability to repair, replace. Basically, you know, just its ruggedness. But as far as the performance, you give up some of it with its length, its interior volume, the bore circumference, making that a little larger for your safety to make it not as likely for baffle strikes or you know, for use on AKs, because those are notoriously not concentric to the bore of the rifle. So would like to see more performance, but for what you get for your money, this is still a decent suppressor. So, I mean, as far as a recommendation, I give it a thumbs up and a thumbs down. You know, if you're looking for something to use and abuse, hell yeah, go get it. But if you're looking for specific performance and you know, you're willing to buy better ammo and that type of thing, you might want to look into something different. You know, for me, having something that will suppress shitty ammo, military surplus stuff, that's a great advantage with this suppressor. So there you have it, the Huntertown Arms Kestrel 7.62 AK. Thanks for watching.
Pew 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 pew. Yours is quieter.